On tonight's Wales at 6. Fun for some in the snow, but others face travel disruption as dozens of schools close in Pembrokeshire.
Meanwhile, in the north, lots of travel disruption today. Many motorists stranded, but there remains a blanket of snow across the landscape.
Also on the programme, playing at being a war hero. He pretended to be a rear admiral, but his fake medals were spotted at a remembrance parade. Plus, how far would you go for a new knee? Susan looked abroad when she was deemed too young for an operation on the NHS. And pop legend Peter Andre prepares for a trip to Wales to perform the music of the 60s sensation Frankie Valli. Hello, good evening. The first working week of 2026 got off to a bumpy start with a blast of freezing weather affecting thousands of commuters, school pupils and businesses across Wales. Dozens of schools were forced to shut and many roads became treacherous. The Met Office has now issued another yellow warning for snow and ice, which remains in place until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Well, let's assess the impact across the country with Lewis Rhys-Jones in Cymru in Pembrokeshire and Joanne Gallagher in Coed Poeth near Wrexham. Lewis, we'll start with you. Major disruption for many people in West Wales today.
You can say that again, John, and there's little surprise that the AA has described the day as Manic Monday. After all, it is the first Monday of 2026. We're all meant to be getting back to that normal working routine, but the snow has put a stop to that for many today. It's actually stopped at the moment, but we have had quite a bit of snowfall in the last half an hour here in Cymru. Contrast that to blue skies earlier on, and that'll be welcome news for many who are enjoying time off school or the chance to build a snowman, but there are those who will be glad to see it clear. Brought to a standstill, it was meant to be back to school for many pupils across Wales today, but the snow brought a stop to that across parts of the country. Midway Motors usually run 15 school buses across Pembrokeshire, all of which were cancelled.
Yeah, it's a difficult industry to be in when the conditions do hit us. You know, obviously, the biggest thing for us is paramount. The safety is the main aspect. You know, obviously, the kids are safe, drivers are safe, our staff are safe. When the wheels aren't turning, we aren't paid. So obviously, that's a very difficult start. And obviously, we're very lucky we're in this part of the country where we don't get much snow. And obviously, when it happens, it does hamper us financially. But obviously, we'll see what tomorrow brings. We don't know what the situation is going to be. But yeah, let's hope for better weather and getting the wheels turning on these buses.
And in Cymru itself, businesses are also experiencing lower footfall as people opt to catch up in the warmth.
It hasn't been that busy, to be honest with you. We've been out on the van delivering to the local shops and the needy in the area. But fair play to people who don't want to come out in the weather. It's dangerous. The pavements are slippery. So it's just best to stay at home and be safe.
We haven't seen snow like this in many years, though. Do you think it's nice in a way that we're seeing it despite the obvious travel disruptions?
No, I don't like it. Kids are enjoying it and they're just making the snowmen. But my husband brought me up in the pickup.
Oh, so you were snowed in yourself then?
Yeah.
But others are keen to make the most of the snow while it lasts. It's nice to see the snow, but quite a bit of disruption as well.
Yes, there is quite a bit of disruption. The schools are closed, many businesses are closed, the shop is closing early. So yes, it brings quite a bit of disruption.
And what are you hoping to get out of today now? You're just hoping to make the most of it?
Yeah, and just to enjoy it really. I've been walking about and taking a few pictures, so it's all good really.
In other parts of the country, heavy snow this morning meant the main road through this town in Ceredigion became almost impossible to use. And the Rhondda Valley didn't escape the freezing conditions. Closed schools meant children tried to make the most of whatever snow they could find. Businesses are getting ready for the thaw, but there's no doubt many have enjoyed today's snow. On a more serious note, it is worth noting how treacherous and dangerous these conditions can be. After all, I was talking to a business owner earlier on who said one of their work vans have been written off after slipping on dangerous road surfaces earlier on in the day. And for myself and camera operator Tim, A journey that should have taken us an hour to get to Cymru actually took 3, so it gives you an idea of just how rough conditions are for many out there. This road behind us has just been gritted in the past 15 minutes, but it's still looking very slushy. Conditions that will be similar in many other parts of the country, I'm sure. But the advice is now to keep warm indoors. OK, Lewis, go safely. Let's get to the picture in North Wales, where Joanne Gallagher can bring us up to date. Joanne.
Well, it may look pretty. The snow is still very thick on the ground here in Coed Poeth near Wrexham. This is a village about a mile away from Bwlch, which is one of the highest villages in Wales. In fact, the highest in North Wales. Temperatures are plummeting. It's certainly very cold here this evening, and the snow has been causing lots of disruption. Many motorists have been unable to leave their drives today. You can see cars where I am still covered in a blanket of thick snow. Other people have managed to dig themselves out, but many people have missed work today because of the conditions. It's been very difficult to get to the main roads, to get public transport, if indeed it's running. There has been disruption on the buses and on the trains in rural parts of Wales. No buses were running this morning. Like other parts of Wales, there have been school closures in North Wales. Areas of Gwynedd and Anglesey have been affected the most, but dozens of schools have been closed throughout the region. In Wrexham, the school children here aren't due to go back after the Christmas break until tomorrow, so I know many are looking to see whether they will make it in tomorrow, with those temperatures expect to get colder and that snow really sticking. I was talking to people today that were expecting some online food deliveries. They've been cancelled because people just can't get through in the snow. The conditions have been that bad. As I say, trains have been disrupted. Actually, their service between Llandudno Junction and Blaenau Ffestiniog was cancelled for a short while. There were problems on that route. North Wales Police have been called to try and help motorists who've been stranded, again in the Gwynedd area. Their advice today is only travel if absolutely necessary, and as ever, be careful underfoot. Check on those elderly neighbours and the vulnerable members of your community.
Good advice there. Joanne Gallagher in Coed Poeth. Thanks very much indeed. Searches have continued today for a missing man who is believed to have entered the River Tavy in Cardigan. The man is thought to have gone into the water from the bridge at Castle Street early yesterday morning. Dyfed Powys Police has been carrying out a widespread search operation by boat, helicopter and drone, but say the man has not been located. The search is expected to continue tomorrow morning. A man has been sentenced to 10.5 years in prison for committing multiple serious sexual offences involving children. 39-year-old David Prothero from Tumble near Llanelli pleaded guilty to offences against 4 victims, including the rape of a 13-year-old girl and sexual activity with a 17-year-old girl. A man has admitted dressing as a Navy Admiral at a Remembrance Sunday event in North Wales. Jonathan Carley from Harlech in Gwynedd was charged with wearing the high-ranking uniform without permission. He was arrested after people raised concerns after the wreath-laying service in Llandudno. Ian Lang has our report.
Jonathan Carley leaving court this morning after being fined £500 with cost for masquerading as a senior naval officer to lay a wreath at a remembrance service. Carley was arrested at his home in Harlech after images of him wearing a fake Rear Admiral's uniform and medals at a remembrance service in Llandudno appeared on social media. Carley told officials that he was representing the Lord Lieutenant of Clwyd, but he wasn't on any list. He laid a wreath and saluted. But the images went viral. When police arrived at his home, he said, "I've been expecting you." Carley bought medals online and had gold braid sewn onto a uniform so he could fake his way to laying a wreath at the service on Llandudno prom last November. The court heard Carley had sought a sense of belonging and affirmation, but had been the author of his own downfall when veterans spotted flaws in his uniform. This is what his solicitor had to say after the hearing.
My client would like to reiterate his apologies to all of those who've been affected by what he did. As we made clear in court, he is utterly remorseful and he accepts the sentence of the court.
District Judge Gwyn Jones told Carly, "You were not there as a genuine person, but as someone who had come to deceive. Your actions totally disrespected the memories of those who have fallen." It is a sad reflection you chose to do such a thing on what was a very difficult day for so many. Despite questions from reporters, Carly said nothing as he walked away from the court. Ian Lang, ITV News, at Llandudno Magistrates.
A woman who was told she was too young to have a knee replacement is planning to have a second procedure carried out abroad. Susan Marks, a teacher from Monmouthshire, has had difficulty walking since being involved in a car accident in her early 50s. So far, she's had one knee transplant in Lithuania and is now saving up for another. Richard Morgan reports.
For Susan and her dog Dora, walkies are much easier than they were this time last year. Back then, even a short stroll could have left Susan in severe pain because of injuries she suffered following a car crash back in 2017.
My pain had got to a level where I was using a stick and finding it difficult to walk the dog and just finding it difficult to think, can I get to the shop and can I get back again?
Susan was told that she was a candidate for knee replacement surgery, but later learned that at 52 she was too young to be put on the waiting list.
When I had the accident, the emergency care was fantastic. You know, they put you back together and send you home, and that was fantastic. But when you are not in that emergency situation, and, you know, when you talk to other people, it's the same for everyone. I was disappointed, but I wasn't shocked. And I think that's where we are with the NHS at the moment, unfortunately.
So she went to Lithuania, where she had the first of what she hopes will be 2 knee replacements, carried out at a clinic which uses cutting-edge technologies, including robot-assisted surgery.
Patients feel less pain, they get less bleeding, and the recovery is much faster. To do surgery in that accurate way, it is just impossible with conventional instruments.
Back in Wales, Susan says she's delighted with the results of her surgery, but wishes there was more help available at home for patients of working age.
I am full-time working, I need to work, and I think that there should be, an individual basis of what the need is.
An Erin Bevan Health Board said that patients are always advised not to have knee replacement surgery too young, as a replacement will only be viable for 10 years, adding, "We're sorry to those patients who feel they must self-fund care overseas. Our staff are continuing to do everything they can to reduce our waiting times and to prioritise the most clinically urgent cases." As for Susan, she's planning her next trip to Lithuania for later this year. Excited but disappointed that when it comes to surgery here in Wales, the door, for her at least, remains shut. Richard Morgan, ITV News in Abergavenny.
And Richard joins me now. Richard, so many people are tonight on waiting lists, hoping that that magic letter will arrive not too far into the new year. But we're seeing more patients like Susan in your film paying for treatment here and abroad.
Well, we can certainly say, John, that there are still many people waiting a long time for treatment on the NHS in Wales. And as a result of that, of course, that means more are considering private treatment if they can afford it. So the latest waiting list figures published in December showed there being an increase in those waiting for treatment for over 2 years in 4 Welsh Board areas. The Welsh Government insists waiting times as a whole are improving, and they said if people are considering undergoing private healthcare, they should research it properly. We would encourage people to check if they're dealing with someone reputable, ask to see their qualifications, ask about complications and side effects, and if possible, speak to other people who've been treated at the same clinic or hospital.
And what are the possible solutions here?
Well, in October last year, the Royal College of Surgeons said the Welsh Government should consider so-called surgical hubs. to help drive down the waiting times. Now, that's an idea that's been trialled in England with some success since the pandemic. They also said that the Welsh Government needed to put in place a long-term strategy. Now, the administration in Cardiff has admitted waiting times aren't where they want them to be, but that long waits have reduced significantly. The Health Secretary has pledged more money, but many, of course, would say waiting times are still unacceptably high. And we are in the middle of the busy winter period, so I don't think we should expect a major dent to be made in those figures anytime soon, John.
OK, Richard Morgan, thank you very much indeed. Still to come, New Year, same problems for the Welsh Rugby Union as fresh calls are made for its chair to go.
And we've still got some incredibly low temperatures out there. We've still got lying snow across the mountains as well. So the big question is, will it change? I'll let you know in a few minutes' time.
Before that, a new project in Denbighshire has been launched which aims to tackle problem drinking differently. The Reach Out Centre in Rhyl is a safe place where anyone can access support, but also have a drink if they need one. Every year, around 1,500 people die in Wales as a result of alcohol, with deaths highest in the most deprived parts of the country. Carol Green has more.
I started drinking at 14 years old, hiding it very well in hip flasks and everything, and spoilt my school life totally. Totally ruined himself.
Anthony battled with problem drinking for decades.
I was alcohol dependent. I used to drink, half bottles of gin mixed with cans and strong tins and everything each day. I used to do it daily, and it just had to stop. Couldn't go on the way I was.
And it has changed. Anthony still has the occasional drink, but alcohol doesn't dominate his life like it used to. He's a regular visitor to a new project called The Rock. It's a partnership between North Wales Police, the Sanctuary Trust and Denbighshire County Council. And it's tackling alcoholism differently.
So this hub's here and it's to support the citizens of Rhyl. You can drink in the hub if you have an alcohol problem, come in and get support. What we're trying to do is meet people where they're at and facilitate engagement with people. So it's in an old pub, funnily enough. It's called The Rock, which is the Reaching Out Centre. So if someone does bring alcohol into the premises, we have lockers in the other room. We give the citizen the key to that locker, they put their drink in it, and they can put drink into a plastic beaker and drink while they're in here. It's not just for people that have problems with alcohol, it's just for any citizen that wants to come in and get some support.
As soon as I walked through the door, they offered me something nice to eat and said, like, pot of tea, you know, we're all happy here, like, sort of thing, like, a bit of a camaraderie going. Staff are needed. You couldn't get more caring staff.
How big a challenge is alcohol in this community?
It's a big challenge, loads of deprivation. I think Ryl's just come up on the sort of top towns suffering deprivation, so it's somewhere safe for people to come.
A lot of people would say allowing people to bring alcohol in, doesn't that confound the problem, the challenge?
No, not at all. What we've found is people actually consume less alcohol when they're in here than what they do when they're on the street.
And that no judgment, supportive space helps when times get tough.
I brought a drink in here the other day and I had a couple of slugs of it in here because I got evicted, and I ended up chucking the bottle away.
The Reach Out Centre is a 12-month pilot project helping to stabilise lives.
It must be very moving for you to see lives changed here and improved.
Yeah, I mean, it's why we do this job. You know, I mean, it's not just a job to some of us. 72% of our workforce have experienced the same issues as what the citizens that come through the door have. Myself, I've been to prison 12 times and was a Class A drug user for 20 years. Everybody deserves a future and deserves a life, and that's what we try to do at Sanctuary Trust. Look at me now, I'm head of development and I've been clean a long time, but I needed places like this to give me a helping hand when I was in that position.
And The Rock gets top marks from Anthony too.
This place is a definite yes. I'll give it 10 out of 10.
Changing lives, one cuppa one breakfast and one day at a time.
And you can see Carol's full report on ITVX. You can find us by choosing categories. Then, news and select Wales. You can catch up with the latest news and all your favourite programmes like Coast and Country and Sharp End. It's the same on your phone or smart TV. Now, it's a new year, but Welsh Rugby is facing some old and familiar problems. Grassroots clubs are being urged to call an extraordinary general meeting of the WRU and hold a vote of no confidence in its chair, Richard Collier-Keywood. Matt Southcombe is with me now in the studio. So, Matt, what is going on and what are the chances of all this going ahead?
Well, John, as you say, the Central Glamorgan Rugby Union has written to clubs in Wales and urged them to join their calls for an extraordinary general meeting of the Welsh Rugby Union. And among the motions they intend to table is that vote of no confidence in Chair Richard Collier-Keywood. Now, I've obtained a copy of that letter and it's pretty critical of the situation in Wales, as you might imagine. I'll read you part of it now. It says, "We see the meandering between different versions of a plan, causing chaos, confusion, uncertainty, and spending extortionate amounts of money on external consultants, combined with the current board's inability to define and deliver a clear strategy for rugby in Wales." Now, John, that all sounds pretty ominous for Richard Collier-Keywood, but there are a lot of barriers to pass here. First, the support of 29 clubs across Wales is needed for an EGM to be called. That's the slightly easier bit. Then at the meeting, 142 clubs would have to support a vote of no confidence for Richard Collier-Keywood to be ousted, and that's a much higher bar to pass. If an EGM is called, the union would have 21 days to schedule one, and that meeting would then have to take place within 28 days. If it were to go ahead, it would be the union's third EGM in just under 6 years, John, which illustrates just how tumultuous things have been.
And what has the WRU got to say?
Not an awful lot at the moment, John. A statement from CEO Abby Tierney has acknowledged the letter from the Central Glamorgan Rugby Union, but she insists they're yet to receive correspondence calling for that EGM. Abby Tierney says the union intends to press ahead with its plans to reduce from 4 to 3 regions this year. And it quotes, "We ask all stakeholders to work with us. We recognise that change is challenging, but it is essential for the long-term health of the game in Wales." That's where we stand tonight. Richard Collier-Keywood is now facing the prospect of a vote of no confidence. We're not there yet, but it could happen by the end of this week.
OK, Matt, thank you very much indeed. A reminder of tonight's top story on Wales at 6. And dozens of schools have been forced to shut following a blast of freezing weather across parts of Wales. A yellow weather warning for snow and ice will remain in place until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, with the Met's office advising commuters to take care and allow extra time for their journeys. And still ahead on the ITV Evening News.
Coming up on the programme, the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who was seized by the US, is appearing in court accused of narco-terrorism charges. An ITV News investigation reveals how people with a healthy BMI are using AI and photo editing tools to fake their weight and get access to weight loss jabs. And in what should be the first day back, hundreds of schools have had to close as snow brings widespread disruption across the country. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, their music helped shape the sound of the 60s. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons have had hit after hit after hit, with their songs being featured in huge movies like Grease and Dirty Dancing and TV shows like The Sopranos. And the music has stood the test of time, with hundreds of artists covering their songs over the years. Well, now 90s pop star Peter Andre is bringing some of those classic songs to the stage in a new theatre show, heading to Swansea and Cardiff. Natalie Ball went along to meet him.
The songs that you're covering in this show are huge.
Yeah.
I've recognised so many of them that I didn't know were Frankie Valli songs.
Yeah, and that happened to me as well. You know, it's quite amazing. When I was first asked to do the show, because for people that don't know, this show runs without me. It's a show that's been running and it's a great, great show. But when they approached me about it, I said, well, I don't really know many Frankie Valli songs. They said, oh yeah, you do. I said, no, I don't. They said, yes, you do. Have a listen. And they sent me the set list and I was like, that's Frankie Valli, that's Frank. All of a sudden I was like, a lot of these songs are from my childhood.
Did you ever imagine when you started your career that you'd be doing something like this?
You know, I get asked the question all the time about where the things that I do now, what I thought about when I was younger. And I find it's an interesting question because I studied acting as a kid and music was my dream and my passion, but I studied acting. So when I got signed up in the music side, I just took it and ran. But I always knew I was going to come back to acting. It was just something I always knew. But the music is still my passion through and through. Yeah, so last year when I was going to be doing this for the first time, I was really nervous because I knew it was coming. This year I'm excited. I honestly will say, one thing we got last time was no one left disappointed, and that's a big thing for us because we want people leaving going, that felt so good. That's what we want you to feel.
And you'll be humming those songs all night, I promise you. And talking of the Four Seasons, well, it's well and truly winter. Temperatures are dipping right down again tonight. So here's Charlie with all the details.
Today's forecast, blue skies, followed by a spread of hot and cold plates. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Hello. As we work our way through the rest of this week, we are sticking with a cold theme to begin with. We've still got lying snow across the Brecon Beacon, Snowdonia, but from the middle part of the week onwards, we may well see something a little bit wetter and windier arriving, which will bring temperatures up ever so slightly, but probably only to somewhere near normal. Before then, we've still got northerly winds, still dragging and holding a lot of cold air across the country. And even though this weak front works its way through later tomorrow, it's not going to change those temperatures all that much. It may still bring us a little bit of hill snow. It's what develops behind that. You can just about see behind me that'll arrive later in the week, and that's one to pay attention to for the time being. Still very cold though as we work our way through the rest of this evening and tonight. Still that feed of showers from the Clean Peninsula down through parts of Pembrokeshire, sleet and snow inland, rain more likely on the immediate coasts, but still some very low temperatures everywhere, down to freezing if not several degrees below. Somewhere like Sennybridge again, much like last night, will get down to maybe -9 or -10. So a warning remains in place for some further small accumulations of snow, but icy stretches certainly a bit of a hazard first thing tomorrow and probably well into tomorrow morning as well, because it's going to be another cold day. Far fewer showers, much drier, good deal of sunshine as we head through the course of tomorrow. That warning stays in place until late morning. Then we start to see that weak front arriving, which will bring us increased amounts of cloud, a milder, in inverted commas, southwesterly airflow, so temperature nearer 7 or 8 Celsius, but also some outbreaks of rain coming through as well. Ahead of that, still some fine skies, but still quite cold. And as this rain works its way through across the mountains, more likely, we could see a little bit of snow falling from that. That scoots through fairly quickly, not a huge amount of impacts from that. It's this next system here as we work our way through Thursday into Friday, which is much deeper. The track of it is also much more uncertain, but it probably will bring us a good deal more in the way of strong winds, but then it's a mixture of rain, sleet and snow, depending exactly how far north and south that sits. That's going to be one to stay tuned for as we head through the coming few days. Otherwise, relatively quiet up until that point. A few outbreaks of rain later on Wednesday, but yeah, there may well be a little bit more of the wintry stuff as we head towards the end of this week.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
And that's it. I'll be back with your late headlines after the ITV News at 10. Hope to see you then. But from now, from all of us on the programme, wrap up, stay warm, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.